Manners respect people. Manners respect people. Finally, I get my manners respect done. 3 months it take me for kind of have it in my head. Don't put no no letter between the words. I don't know how easy that is, people. Just change your mind from something where you're having in your mind for years and years and centuries and centuries and centuries and decades and decades. It's not easy. It was never meant to be easy. It was never meant for us to have our mind. But right through and through, people must say, no matter how people try stop we from accomplishing what we want to accomplish, we still accomplish it anyways. We are the race for broke color barrier. So you can always what them say, put that in a pipe and smoke it. For your greatness, people, it cannot, there's no end. There's no end to full greatness. We just don't appreciate our greatness. Right through history. We're not unified. We're not listen. We're too emotional. All of the things that don't make us successful, those are the things that we're good at. And yes, me say, and understand the circumstances of our history and how we have to fight. But the fight was always a unified fight with one and two people standing against the culture, the race. So that's why I say, I get to understand how important the three of them together is, past, present, and future. And this is me I get to understand why people want to separate them. People want to separate the past and forget about the past. Accept the present and don't look about the future. So it's in everything, it's singular, singular, singular. Divide, divide, divide. But when me I get to understand it's on us. Manners, respect. Monica Wills. Thanks for stopping by. It's on us people to open up the books. Because me tell you say all the last month the stuff them when me study and I open up. It's so amazing. It's so amazing to see how great we are. Past, present, and future. Bright, strong, resilient. That's us. That's absolutely us. I tell you, I couldn't gather it up enough. There's not enough days in a month for sure highlight the greatness of us. Right? But at the negative and the weakest part of we highlight. But just listen to producer Wayne program and them talk about how some young youth are disrespectful in our lyrics. Where them get it from? Where the creativity there? I do Louise Bennett or when she write a poem it coming like our lyrics. Where are all those creativity? I always say we are box up the great people them and nobody now replace them. And that me I say where's the great people now other than entertainers and sports figures? Where are the intellectual people? As we proceed, people, come and tell us that it's always educational, and it's educational for me. Sometimes it's it's like with the things that moment discover, it's like whoa. But again, we still have to continue to learn and understand the things them that we don't talk about. We don't talk about these things. When we did Rosewood, the man said the same thing. Then try to cover up history. Or them burn down the people them house and run out the people them and take over them property. So if some reporter didn't research the story, right? Him are the first man I got people. It's on us. It's always been on us. So make sure say if it's on us, we can do it, we can angle it. I tell us say it's nothing for want to share something positive with each other. Everything when I got you all month, it's like it's so amazing. It's so wonderful to see the enrichment of us and how great we are. And we are the one when highlight it and show it to others to say yes. When them say, oh, you guys are nothing, here, go look at these people. You are not seeing these people because I'm seeing these people. So the moment you open your mouth and me shove this in your mouth, this is what you have to say. Respect. You see, Booker T. Washington did a show we that, right? But when this brother yeah, the boy come out and start full up with head gaslight with. Because I'm tell you say everything what we are go through right now, we've been through it already. Somebody always come along and I tell you, oh, this is better than what you're doing, and don't listen to that person because that person has nothing to say. Just because you talk eloquent and just because you frame your word them in a conniving and convert people in a confusing, contradictory way. So you can convert them in all kind of confusion. I'm telling about this word con. So today we are go. I tell you say everything is part one and part two because I'm introducing these people to myself. I understand these people more than where them give we fi understand. Okay. So today is Kwame Karum Karuma. I'm telling some people these things, the spelling and them things here. I'm not a professor. I never got university and have no big titles and stuff like that. So if I mispronounce it or something like that, it's not intentionally. So it's spelled KWAMENKRUMAH. So my thing said it the end probably silent. Cause me hear them calling him name before. And again, I always give credit to it when I get the information them from because we have to promote these things too, right? We have to open up the book and share the book with each other so we understand. Say, look, you know, if you share the whole book, just one page. Just forget us out there. I'm telling you, say, me as a person when I love listen, I love to listen, I love to read, I love to understand. But more time I listen and there's nothing out there. It's just blah 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 blah. It's not refreshing. The information is not, you know, it's the same. Oh, the world is falling. Oh, we can't do nothing. Oh, instead of okay, then fine. These people find a way to do this, and and we have so much more. Them say it. We had so much more of ourselves then. Now we have less of ourselves. We have so much computer and technology now, but we are not smart. We're not we're not educating each other. I talk when we talk about the black hospital, I mean did say Detroit. It's in Louisiana. That's where that match I show you sometimes. It was in Louisiana that then closed down the college, and how the college used to be like a factory of nurses and doctors, and how them used to cooperate with each other, and all of them things here. I say we used to be united. Okay, so this channel is African biographics. I tell you, say, these channels when I subscribe to me drop one channel and I add one channel. And once you do that, the algorithm start change. You start get different type of information stuff where you can listen to. And the stuff the more you listen to, you can listen to them over and over and over because them interesting. Anytime you listen to one, you can always listen to it again. I tell you, same time I listen to the video, I listen to it 3 times because when I listen to it first time, it, there was so much information. She had give out so much information. All of them, these heroes from different part of the world come together in America, right? And then put in them work, right? So America, you can't say America just belong to one set of people where didn't exist before the original Indians them. You guys don't speak a different language, right? You guys speak English. You guys are supposed to have a language before English comes along. People, I'm tell you some I love them things, yeah, because you see, all of these things is just opening up like so much awareness, give us so much strength. That's why them say our our past is with us. The people them, who we get with strength from now? Who are we getting our energy from? We are getting energies from people who not care about we. These people literally died for us and betterment of us, the race, not just the black race, but all race. Okay, so I tell you, this is um Kwame Nkrumah and a revolutionary feared by the West. All right, as we proceed, people.
Is Africa's. This decade is the decade of African independence. Forward then to independence, now. Tomorrow, the United States of Africa.
This was Kwame Nkrumah, a towering figure whose vision and determination ignited the flames of independence across Africa. As the first leader of a free Ghana, he boldly championed Pan-African unity, envisioning a continent unshackled from the chains of colonialism. Yet, as he rose to become one of Africa's most influential voices, Nkrumah's relentless pursuit of his ideals also sowed the seeds of his eventual downfall. Kwame Nkrumah was born in the village of Nkorofu, located in Zimaland, an area in the southwestern part of what was then the Gold Coast colony. During that era, it was common not to keep official records of births, which has left some uncertainty regarding his exact date of birth. Nevertheless, Nkrumah himself later estimated that he was most likely born on Saturday, September 18, 1909.
And I'm the first September person with link so far, right? As we proceed, people.
Nkrumah was born into a polygamous family where his father Kofi Ngonloma, a member of the Akan tribe and a goldsmith by trade, had several wives and children. His mother, Elizabeth Nyaniba, was a retail trader and Nkrumah was their only child. At birth, his father named him Nui or Kofi, and later he was baptized as Francis. In keeping with Akan tradition, Nkrumah was also given a name based on the day of his birth, Kwame, for Saturday.
Now every okay. So you see, even we had meaning. We had people. Me telling you, say we had our own system. We had our own system. And that much I show you. We are go along and I live our own life. We have our own language. We have our own spirituality. We have our own you. Obviously, we have different views and different we talk about it in the thing that in the tribes, right? Them have different clans in the tribe, but them still unite, right? As we proceed, people. Artificial Intelligence Department.
Day of his birth, Kwame, for Saturday. Throughout his career, he used all of these names interchangeably, but Kwame ultimately became the most widely recognized. As Kwame Nkrumah was growing up in the early 20th century, the Gold Coast was a British colony, having been formally established as such in 1874. The Gold Coast, being rich in resources like cocoa and gold, became a key economic asset for Britain. The British invested in infrastructure such as railways, roads, and ports in order to facilitate the extraction and export of these resources. However, this development primarily served colonial interests, with profits largely benefiting British companies and the colonial.
You see, it's the same thing, people. And the same thing with Burkina Faso and fight 2025. 2025 is just like when this was happening how long ago? Then people have set up themselves to take all of everything for themselves. 2025, this is still a go on. As we proceed, people.
British companies and the colonial administration rather than the local population. Socially, the colonial period brought significant changes to the Gold Coast. For instance, Western education was promoted, especially in coastal areas, leading to the emergence of a small but influential educated elite. In his early years, Nkrumah's mother was adamant about him receiving a formal education. His father also agreed, and Nkrumah was enrolled in a local elementary school run by a Roman Catholic mission. Although he initially disliked school, Kwame Nkrumah gradually developed a strong interest in his studies and soon began to look forward to attending classes each day. The young boy excelled in school, and after 8 years of elementary education,
Okay, and that's the next thing. You see, even if you don't like it, you practice enough of it, you're gonna be good at it. Even if you don't like learning about your past. Me did excited for start them things, because me tell you say I've been listening to find these, but listening to find it doesn't mean that somebody's gonna give it to you. You have to open up them book here. So even if you want to lose weight, anything you want to do, it's not gonna be easy. But the first step is to think about it, put it into action, people. As we proceed.
and after 8 years of elementary education, became a student teacher. His performance in this role was remarkable, leading to his selection in 1926 to attend the Government Training College, which later became Achimota College in Accra, the present-day capital of Ghana. After graduating from Achimota in 1930, Kwame Nkrumah took up a teaching position at a Roman Catholic primary school, and later, Nkrumah also taught at a Catholic seminary in Amisano, where he even contemplated pursuing a career in the priesthood. Around this time, Nkrumah developed a strong desire to travel abroad to Britain to further his education. However, circumstances led him to Lincoln University in Pennsylvania in the United States of America, where he enrolled under a small scholarship. Lincoln University was one of the first historically black colleges in the United States, and its environment provided to be fertile ground for Nkrumah's burgeoning political consciousness. At Lincoln, he studied a broad range of subjects, including economics, sociology, and theology, and earned multiple degrees, including a Bachelor of Arts in Economics and Sociology and a Bachelor of Sacred Theology. These were financially challenging times, and he had to pick up some menial and uncomfortable jobs to support himself and supplement his meager scholarship. Some of these jobs included buying fish at wholesale prices and selling them on a street corner in Harlem, New York, often for small profits and at times even at financial loss. He soon developed skin rash.
Obviously, it's fish. So if you not sell it fast enough, you know, oh, people, I can just imagine these things, people. I can just imagine them, the situation of them people I forgot you. Just because it's like their life. This is not some movie where them just copy things and paste things, and these people had to go through life. Now them people can depend TikTok and make hundred thousands of dollars, but they're not doing anything constructive with it. So people know and say them not do something constructive with it. Them give them more money. So the more money, right? The few people who don't have that, them are gonna want it. So I'm telling you, say people looking at these things and seeing them things here, just by looking at the past, people. I say, wow, it's the same thing, exact same thing, but with just less conscious people. As we proceed, people.
In rashes due to allergies to fish and had to abandon the unprofitable fish trade to work at a soap factory, which he found to be even more challenging. In 1942, Kwame Nkrumah began a PhD research program, but he never completed it. By this time, he was already closely involved with African student groups that promoted radical political ideologies focused on anti-imperialism and the struggle for Africa's independence. One such group was the African Students Association, where Kwame Nkrumah was elected president. Kwame Nkrumah also began to be deeply influenced by the writings of prominent Pan-African figures like W.E.B. Du Bois and Marcus Garvey. Nkrumah was particularly inspired by Marcus Garvey's vision of a united Africa and Du Bois' advocacy for the rights of black people around the world. In 1945, after 10 challenging years in the United States, Nkrumah left to continue his studies in Britain. His interest was to study law in London while working to complete his thesis for a PhD. By that time, Nkrumah's political and ideological experiences in the United States had already transformed him into a committed radical nationalist, and it wasn't long before he became deeply involved in political activities in London. Like many young anti-colonial activists, Nkrumah had extensive interactions with communist activists. Although he maintained close ties with members of the British Communist Party, he never officially joined the party. When he was arrested in the Gold Coast a few years later, a blank British Communist Party membership card was found in his possession. It can be argued that Nkrumah did not truly come into his own as a radical Pan-Africanist activist until he started working with George Padmore, a leading Pan-Africanist who had led the International Trade Union of Negro Workers, an affiliate of the Communist International. George Padmore's ideologies centered on anti-imperialism, Pan-Africanism, and the unification of African and Caribbean peoples. He advocated for the liberation of colonized nations and the empowerment of black workers globally. Kwame Nkrumah spent endless hours discussing colonial issues with Padmore, who saw his potential and quickly recruited him as a high-level organizer, administrator, and rapporteur in the Pan-African Congress of 1945. This particular conference, which was held in Manchester, had attendees from Liberia, Nyasaland, Togoland, Nigeria, the Gold Coast, and notably included prominent figures like Jomo Kenyatta of Kenya and Peter Abrahams of South Africa. The event was instrumental in energizing anti-colonial movements across Africa and the diaspora, laying the groundwork for the eventual independence of numerous African nations. Furthermore, the Manchester Congress significantly boosted Kwame Nkrumah's international reputation, and it also enabled him to forge stronger relationships with global leaders, including Malawi's Dr. Hastings Kamuzu Banda and W.E.B. Du Bois from the United States.
People, and this W.E.B. Du Bois keeps on coming up in our history. This man is all over our history now. I tell you, say, well, everything from him encounter with Booker T. Washington. This man was the uppity type of black person, right? He never believe in a working for what we want. He believe in a kicking in the door. And we talk about trouble that get we already, that got us in so much trouble. As we proceed, people.
W.E.B. Du Bois from the United States.
You can sell.
We keep on turning. This man comes up a lot in our history. W.E.B. Du Bois. But so far, I haven't heard, like, I didn't do a thing there on him yet. I forgot to do a deep dive on him. But everybody believe in him. Everybody thinks he's a good again, people. The information is there. We just have to go through it and find out the truth as we proceed, people.
W.E.B. Du Bois from the United States. Meanwhile, back in the Gold Coast, J.B. Danquah, along with an elite group of lawyers and businessmen known as the Intelligentsia, formed the United Gold Coast Convention, the UGCC, in 1947. These men of property and standing adopted the slogan self-government in the shortest possible time. J.B. Danquah, the group's leader, was highly respected by the British, and he earned a doctorate from London University, qualified as a barrister at the Inner Temple, and authored a well-regarded book on Arcan law and religion. Now, back in the UK, Kwame Nkrumah had abandoned his law studies and struggled to make ends meet as a political activist. With little money, he often spent hours discussing politics in the inexpensive cafes of Camden Town, rarely able to afford more than a cup of tea and a bread roll. So when the offer of a position with the UGCC came his way, Nkrumah seriously considered the opportunity. It's worth mentioning that initially he was skeptical of the organization, stating that, and I quote, "It was quite useless to associate myself with a movement backed almost entirely by reactionaries, middle-class lawyers, and merchants, for my revolutionary background and ideas would make it impossible for me to work with them." But after receiving repeated requests from J.B. Danquah and consulting with his comrades in London, Nkrumah ultimately decided to accept the position of General Secretary, reasoning that I was very sure of the policy that I would pursue and fully prepared to come to loggerheads with the executive of the UGCC if I found that they were following a reactionary course. Nkrumah returned to the Gold Coast on December 16, 1947, and wasted no time in setting to work at building the kind of mass political party that he saw as being necessary for winning independence. He suggested that the party set up branches in every corner of the country and embark on demonstrations, strikes, and boycotts to press for independence. His approach appealed to some of the leaders of the UGCC while others were apprehensive. Nonetheless, Nkrumah set his plan in motion, and new branches were set up and resources mobilized to the party. He paid particular attention to young people who were disappointed with the status quo and were looking for an avenue to vent their frustration at their chiefs and the colonial administration. As General Secretary, Nkrumah had the opportunity to organize and address numerous meetings across the colony. With mottos such as, "We have the right to live as men," "We have the right to govern ourselves," and "We prefer self-government with danger to servitude in tranquility," Kwame Nkrumah was able to easily mobilize people with an inspirational message around a clear-to-understand goal. In 1948, Widespread unrest erupted across the Gold Coast, sparked by protests against the British colonial administration's failure to address economic grievances and the rising cost of living. The situation escalated when the colonial police fired on ex-servicemen who were marching peacefully to present a petition, killing several of them. This incident led to riots in Accra and other major towns, and the colonial government responded with mass arrests, including the arrest of Nkrumah and other UGCC leaders who became known as the Big Six. Although Nkrumah was released after a short time, the events of 1948 convinced him that the UGCC's conservative leadership was not committed to the kind of mass mobilization needed to achieve independence. He began to distance himself from the UGCC leadership, and in 1949 he broke away to form his own political party, the Convention People's Party (CPP). By this time, Kwame Nkrumah had traveled extensively throughout the country. His affability, powerful oratory skills, and deep connection with the struggles of ordinary people endeared him to the youth who became his primary supporters. Nkrumah's CPP demanded self-government now and threatened to wreck Britain's carefully laid plan for constitutional reform if it was not granted. He threw himself with restless energy into the task of turning his party, the CPP, into a modern political machine, organizing youth groups, using flags, banners and slogans, and setting up newspapers which vilified the colonial authorities at every opportunity. In fiery speeches across the country, he promised that self-government now would solve all the grievances and hardships inflicted by colonial rule and bring a new world of opportunity and prosperity. His radical appeal spread to trade unionists, ex-servicemen, clerks, and primary school teachers, to a new generation frustrated and impatient, seeking a better way of life. Nkrumah also won the support of influential market women who, through their domination of small-scale trade, served as effective channels of communication at the local level. To the young people of the Gold Coast, particularly the homeless veranda boys who slept on the porches of the wealthy, Nkrumah became an idol, a political magician whose actions inspired excitement, hope, and a sense of anticipation. Growing increasingly bold, Nkrumah condemned the British plan for constitutional reform as being bogus and fraudulent and launched a campaign of positive action. Positive action came to denote a tactical approach to challenging the British Empire, focusing on the deployment of non-violent civil disobedience and rolling industrial strike action. Nkrumah was imprisoned shortly after the declaration of positive action and was brought before a criminal court and convicted on 3 charges of incitement and sedition and was sentenced to a total of 3 years imprisonment. However, rather than weakening the CPP, Nkrumah's imprisonment only increased his popularity. He became a symbol of the struggle for independence, and his image was widely.
Wow. Sounds like something that happened Nelson Mandela. Wow. So anytime I say anything against injustice, past, present, future people. As we proceed,
used in CPP propaganda to rally support. By the end of 1950, the CPP had eclipsed the UGCC as the more dynamic party, and its leader had become the most popular nationalist leader the country had ever known. It is not surprising, therefore, that at the first general election held in February 1951, the CPP swept the polls, winning 34 out of the 38 popularly elected seats. Despite being incarcerated, Nkrumah was elected to the Legislative Assembly by a
despite people here, despite being incarcerated, as we proceed, people, because we don't understand what greatness is, We don't understand what greatness is. When I think say entertain our greatness. As we proceed, people,
to the Legislative Assembly by a landslide, winning the Accra Central constituency with over 22,000 votes. After this sweeping electoral victory, the colonial authorities began to see that Nkrumah was the only real force to negotiate with. Recognizing the overwhelming support from Nkrumah and the CPP, the British governor, Sir Charles Arden Clarke, decided to release Nkrumah from prison and invited him to form a government. On February 12, 1951, Nkrumah was released from prison and appointed leader of government business, a position equivalent to prime minister.
Accra sees popular rejoicings at the release of Kwame Nkrumah, leader of the Convention People's Party, successful at the recent Gold Coast elections, together with 6 other men sentenced for sedition during the political strike of a year ago. Headed by supporters dancing with joy, the leader was put into a waiting car, in which he began a triumphant progress through the town.
Watch this short.
Sedition, people. I tell you, so them people come up with some all kind of word. Sedition. Hold on there. Sedition. What is sedition? I gotta write it. Them charge the man for sedition. Sedition. C-Y-D-I-S-I-O-N. Sedition. Yeah, I guess them do have a word name, so. Obviously, if them can't say it and put a meaning to it. Sedition, people, sedition. As we proceed, people.
Began a triumphant progress through the town. The hero of the Gold Coast.
As leader of government business, Nkrumah led the first African-majority government in the Gold Coast, working closely with the British colonial administration to implement gradual reforms aimed at achieving full self-government. But the British still ran the Gold Coast as a colony and controlled all the important departments of the government, including the finances, armed forces, foreign policy, and office of the Attorney General. Nkrumah continued to put intense political pressure on the British colonial administration to gain the colony's independence. While the 1954 Constitution had expanded the powers of the Legislative Assembly and granted more self-governance, Nkrumah and the CPP felt it was not enough. They demanded full self-government and immediate independence from British rule. At the same time, opposition to Nkrumah's
So it's either British or France. Them they are the and America, my bad. It's either British, France, or America did control the world back then. Now them have China, them have Russia, them have well, Canada is included in there, but I not see Canada I go around and pretty much dominate in that sense. Canada do it enough for them own way. As we proceed, people.
At the same time, opposition to Nkrumah's demand for immediate independence started coming from various quarters, particularly from the minority ethnic groups and regional leaders who feared that a unitary state dominated by the CPP would marginalize their interests. These groups, including the Northern People's Party and the National Liberation Movement, the NLM, advocated for a federal system of government or a more gradual transition to independence, allowing time to negotiate protections for minority rights and regional autonomy. Nkrumah, however, was determined to avoid a federal structure which he believed would weaken the unity of the nation and hinder the development of a strong, centralized state capable of leading the broader Pan-African struggle. He saw the opposition's demands as an attempt by the colonial authorities and local elites to divide the country and delay independence. By 1956, the demand for independence
When I go and watch the video, I see when I laugh about people. No, sir. These people. It's crazy. Upon the policy where the people them live in. The best. Dressed to the finest. The people them must starve. As we proceed.
had become overwhelming, and the British government, recognizing the inevitability of Ghana's independence and the risks of continued unrest, agreed to grant full self-governance. In a general election of 1956, the CPP won an outright majority, gaining 71 seats out of 104. The Gold Coast and British Togoland territory merged under the British Commonwealth as independent Ghana, becoming the first black African colony to be liberated from British rule, setting the trend for other colonies on the continent to follow. Kwame Nkrumah became the first prime minister of the newly formed independent state, and on the eve of Ghana's independence, March 6, 1957, Nkrumah declared that the independence of Ghana would be meaningless until it was linked up with the total liberation of the African continent.
In less than 20 people, I'm telling you, say at the CM fight, it's a CM fight going on. Them put in certain them talk about a certain prime minister or president of Africa, right? Them not have no interest in the people. Them have interest in France and in America. All of them things there. That's why I'm say. See now Abraham Toure in such a short period of time, just no nonsense with everything, just a step, just a step. I'm telling us in 30 years from now, people are not gonna see, people are gonna make movie about him if them not start make movie right now. Cause I tell you, say the way I do things coming like one movie, a real life movie. That's why I love them people a story so much. Cause it's better than a movie. The struggle with them people I got through, it's greater than any plot anybody can write. We really are miss out people. We really are miss out on something great. And our history, our story, the amazing thing about us. I wonder if them people are really recognize that, if them would have changed. Or them would have said, sure, I now accept greatness in me. Not like somebody said, them people are greatness don't mean nothing. Not just say, oh, that's in the past, but say, them greatness that don't mean nothing. As we proceed, people.
And thus, Ghana, your beloved country, is free forever. From now on, there is a new African in the world. That new African is ready to fight his own battle and show that after all, the black man is capable of managing his own affairs.
Prime Minister Nkrumah immediately set about transforming Ghana into a beacon of African independence and progress. His government embarked on ambitious infrastructure projects with a focus on industrialization, education, and health.
Thomas Sankara, it sounds like people. Does that sound like Thomas Sankara, people? Wow. The same thing, exact same thing was Thomas Sankara, 1980 coming up, Pawando. Wow. As we proceed, people, definitely deserve a part 2, 3, 4 upon this year.
The Akosombo Dam, part of the Volta River project, was one of Nkrumah's most significant achievements. It was a hydroelectric dam that would generate enough electricity to scale up industrial production in Ghana particularly of aluminium, which is an abundant natural resource in Ghana. Nkrumah's administration also prioritized education, expanding access at all levels and establishing new schools, colleges, and universities. He
Thomas Sankora, Burkina Faso. Thomas story. Same thing, people. Them people have the ideal for make a race a better race. Wow. And prioritize fury, upliftment. Booker T. Washington. Wow, people. I really, really love them story, you know, cause you see, that are the true us. And that me said, this are the true us. This is a man, man. This is a man. There's no doubt about that. As we proceed, people.
introduced free primary education and heavily subsidized secondary and higher education. His overall goal was to produce a skilled workforce that could drive Ghana's development and reduce the country's reliance on foreign expertise. In terms of health, Nkrumah's government invested in building schools and clinics, training medical personnel, and improving access to healthcare services across the country. These initiatives contributed to significant improvements in public health and life expectancy during the early years of his administration. Prime Minister Nkrumah
Early years of his administration. As soon as him go in office, him start make changes, do things, do that, do that. More than you sit down in an office year in a year out and big words and the deflammation of inflammation and all of them things. They're so it's so but telling us them things that just hurt me ears, people. If me not laugh off of them things, then take it for joke. Knowing to them people are with less outside and more inside creates so much more. So Ono can say Ono love this and Ono love that. What do you guys love about this situation? When people do so much in such a short space of time to show them ability. As we proceed, people.
of his administration. Prime Minister Nkrumah also pursued an ambitious industrialization strategy aimed at diversing Ghana's economy beyond its reliance on cocoa exports. State-owned enterprises were established in various sectors, including manufacturing, agriculture, and mining. These efforts were intended to create jobs, reduce imports, and build a self-sustaining economy. Unfortunately, many of these state-owned enterprises struggled with inefficiency, mismanagement, and corruption, which would later contribute to Ghana's economic difficulties.
See, that's why this is why I say when I say Abraham Toure fire some people and get rid of some people, reduce all of them salary, cut down everything, all of the big spending, cut out all of them things there. At the same thing, Trump had to fee him him associates them. Him a cut out, but him a cut from the poor people them. And I make sure so the rich people then keep for them money. Right? So I'm telling you, say it's sure not just them word, but the action, the things what them do. And that people supposed to look upon instead of say die hard this and die hard that. Mindset in a cement, concrete, and stone. Why? As we proceed, people.
And corruption, which would later contribute to Ghana's economic difficulties. As Kwame Nkrumah consolidated power in the newly independent Ghana, his leadership style began to shift, and what many had once seen as strong, visionary governance increasingly came to be perceived as authoritarian, with some critics eventually labeling him a dictator. In 1958, seeking to further consolidate power and rid itself of persistent critics, Nkrumah's regime enacted harsh new legislation, creating a Preventive Detention Act. Here's more context. After Ghana gained independence, Kwame Nkrumah faced significant opposition, particularly from the Ashanti region, where many chiefs were resistant to his policies and leadership. Nkrumah did have some of these chiefs destood, which is a traditional method of removing a chief from power. He became
Yes, the Ashanti. Yes, that's the Ashanti tribe. Remember, we don't talk about that yesterday. So you see, you see, it connected people. Because remember, them said that's what they were doing to the Ashanti tribe. Them want everybody under one leadership. So what them would do is take out, like say, the chief, and then everybody is just be represented under one government. But me said, leave the people, them let them govern themselves. If there's anything, any issues or anything, then instead of just take out the leaders for each group and then just again, people, it not gonna work for everything. Not gonna work just the way you want it to work. You have to work with the people them. You have to think about the people them overall, not just what you want. As we proceed, people, but the Ashanti tribe, them did have different clans under the same tribe. Earlier when we did I talk about the clans, the tribe, it was the Ashanti tribe with different clans.
removing a chief from power. He became increasingly concerned about threats to his leadership, including alleged foreign backed plots against him. One notable incident from 1958 involved a member of parliament being charged with smuggling weapons into the country, which heightened Nkrumah's fear of a potential coup or assassination attempt. As a result, he enacted the Preventive Detention Act, which allowed for the detention of individuals without trial, as he believed a stronger hand was necessary to maintain control and stability in the new.
Okay, that sounds like Guantanamo Bay, where them bring all of the people them and lock them up and not give them no bail and no lie and none of them things. And I think at that that's so them a deport all of the people them. Where the extra people them wanna have no place figure over there so them a over there so them a store the people them. I'm telling you, say boy, wow, it's the same thing, past, present, and future. It's the same exact same thing. If we not change it, it's gonna be the same thing in the future. As we proceed,
Independent nation. This act allowed the government to indefinitely jail anyone without charge and without judicial review.
that totally to me totally don't me not believe no way in a that's like a concentration camp. Because if you're gonna lock up people for no reason, nothing at all, how that right? You start out good at lead the people them and everything, and then all of a sudden you start slowly start go against wait. Me tell you the same thing with the people them at the hospital in a St. Louis. Them voting the man, right? The man say yes, we are gonna keep the hospital open, right? And when he get 14 window, people consistently, it's like it's weird. This is why them say the past and the present are the same. But them never say if we not change it, if we not look on it and see why it's like this. As we proceed, people,
This act allowed the government to indefinitely jail anyone without charge and without judicial review. It is likely
without charge, right? And without judicial review, that means that no court now see you. Flows and skirt, brother. I'm tell you, as we proceed, people. That's why I say when people say, okay, this person is 100% perfect. You don't have to take a look. I on duty to investigate. It's my duty to investigate my history. Because we find out say the people them were say them investigate the history. Them not investigate nothing. As we proceed, people, I tell you some I don't agree with this at all. And people definitely are gonna fight back against this. And them should. Or you kick out the colonizers and you become a colonizer yourself.
It is likely that more than any other action of the Nkrumah government, the passing of this legislation was the most detested by the Ghanaian.
Okay, obvious. You see me right? Who wouldn't push back against something like that? That's like pretty much Guantanamo Bay, because they saw them keep the people them with no charge where them say a fight against America and all of them stuff there. Some tell you them people get all of them things there from somewhere, you know. We do it to ourselves first. As we proceed, people.
Nkrumah's administration pursued critics and opponents relentlessly using the Preventive Detention Act and other security measures at will. J.B. Dankwa, the leading member of the UGCC, was detained until he died in prison in 1965.
Wow. Remember say that same brother yeah, when invite him for join them group. Backside. A man and a partial. So him did have good ideals, but then when in getting a power, him kind of change, finesse him ideals to be a dictator. As we proceed, people, because you know, say one of the things them wouldn't talk about with Mr. Joseph Patterson, that's one of him traits. And come off as a nice guy, right? Me show up, me do Mr. Joseph Patterson several videos. I'm show him credential and everything and him solutions and everything else. But me say people keep on saying there is something to him, right? As we proceed, people, as we proceed, this is our story, past, present, and future.
1965. Meanwhile, another opposition party leader, Dr. Kofi Abrefa Busia, escaped to England and lived in exile for nearly a decade prior to the ratification of the act, as he anticipated being incarcerated, while other opposition party members still in the country joined Nkrumah's ruling party to avoid political persecution under Nkrumah's regime.
You see, them other have to join the party and agree. I mean, them don't agree with me saying no, and we talked about that before too. Them don't agree, but them have to join the party to make sure say them not get prison up or box up. One man have to run with. So when we do foundational Black American and them say why do you flee your country? Why don't you stay and fight? Okay, all right. You see that the situation there? Yeah. There's no stay and fight in this, so run. And a few problem, we don't know when to run sometimes. As we proceed, people.
Under Nkrumah's regime. In March 1960, Nkrumah's government put forward a series of new constitutional proposals that further concentrated power in Nkrumah's hands. With the adoption of a new constitution that year, Ghana was declared a republic and Nkrumah became its first president. This new constitution granted him sweeping powers, allowing him to rule by decree, override parliamentary decisions, and dismiss public servants, military personnel, and members of the judiciary.
Woo-wee! That does sound like one chumpo, we know. Yo. Wow.
At will. Using the powers granted him by the party and the constitution, Nkrumah by 1961 had detained an estimated 400 to 2,000 of his opponents.
Jesus Christ. The man go around and I scrape up everybody, just like ice. Wow. So I'm turning a dictator. So me not understand. Okay, so people never when people talk about him, people not talk two part, them just talk one part, the greatness part. But if you turn a dictator in at the end, okay, as we proceed, people.
400 to 2,000 of his opponents. After a general strike of workers in 1961, expressing dissatisfaction with his economic policies, new emergency powers were granted to the government in order to suppress dissent. Corruption also became ubiquitous during this period, and in 1961, Nkrumah vowed to address this issue. He publicly condemned party members who combined business interests with their political careers, warning that they were becoming a new ruling class of self-serving careerists.
300% raise, 300% raise. The country a mash down. We no care. 300% raise. We no have no hospital. We no care. 300%. Ah. Yes, I. Because them see people do that. Them do see people do that. The ruling class before them, they do that. I'm telling you, say with the little kid in the school I sing the music where the people them upset with the pitney them are sing because them hear the big people them are sing it. So uno give credit to the big people them and don't give credit to the little pitney them. They uno supposed to congratulate the little pitney because them a follow where them see. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Hypocrite. That's one big word. Oh, people. So all of them things that happen just like how it happened today. And we not change it. We are the ones not changing it. We just are complain about it. People, me I learn. Me I learn, me I learn, me I learn. As we proceed,
A new ruling class of self-serving careerists. The president also criticized ministers who openly displayed their wealth, and to combat this, he established a committee of inquiry to investigate the assets and properties of party members, including their houses, cars, and even mistresses.
see, and at that Abraham Torre put in place. Now, if this a man are going up power, this are one of the things that me, well, not me, but he should have put in place. But again, him become a dictator, him upset with the people them a rob, and he's dictating. I again, uh, what's the difference? Them see I do these things, and them have the opportunity for rob. Come on, people. And that me say, show me the honest politicians, right? If everybody is dishonest, show me the honest ones. Why are you guys not promoting the honest ones? The ones from the grassroots, you wanna see, so them people are do good from them start out. Because you don't have no community center where them people can recognize them. You don't have no preacher going to the community and advice and a talk with the people them. We become a singular society, culture. I tell you say money, 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 money. More money, and the more money, and more money. You can't have enough money, money, money. I don't get it. I don't like saying no dead left it, As we proceed, people, take a deep breath. Again, people must keep on saying it. Take a deep breath. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. As we proceed,
Party members, including their houses, cars, and even mistresses. President Nkrumah presented those found guilty with a stark choice: resign or surrender their ill-gotten gains. Unfortunately, the committee's efforts made little progress. Its findings were never published, and the corrupt practices within the party elite continued largely unchanged.
And them have some committee, some committee where do independent commissioner of investigation. I think of that the branch what they call at Jamaica. But again, me know, if it's independent, me not know how comes it has to be what you call it? One of them just set out find guilty, send God jail, all them stuff there. What's the sense having something as him say it doesn't work? Why put something in place when it work? It just has said people. This is why I say entertainer becomes the only thing we ever talk about and think about. But we can't leave everything up to entertainment. As we proceed.
At the same time, numerous assassination attempts dotted President Nkrumah's years in power. On one occasion, by accidentally arriving a few minutes late to a dedication ceremony in Kulungugu, he narrowly escaped an assassination attempt. After this incident, security measures were tightened, and for 5 months, the frightened president almost completely cut himself off from public contact. In the trial following the Kulungugu assassination attempt, the main suspects were acquitted. In response to this,
So them acquit them and then they send them back out there for try again. Oh yeah. You mean give them bail so they can't go to this? I guess we can just watch the latest news and say, oh, that's in the past, that's in the past, that's in the past, that's in the past. As we proceed, people, then let them go.
President Nkrumah reacted strongly by dismissing the nation's Chief Justice. He then swiftly pushed a bill through the National Assembly that granted him the authority to override any court judgment in the country.
Wow. Even that, then the man just that me tell you, these people can create laws. They can make amendment to anything. Why don't they do these things? Because they don't have to. I keep on saying it. If they don't want to, they don't have to. But them get $600,000, yes. And I keep on saying it. If they don't want to, they don't have to. And no matter how much money them I get paid, it doesn't matter. And people don't understand that. But him I get, it doesn't matter. Does he want to? If he want to change anything with a pen, just like how you see Donald Trump come in and him sign this and him brum 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 and him he come in like with about the death note where him just where the man just a sign, sure, this person must go, this person must die. But they have the power. Now the people them will truly have the power. Them don't organize the power because them so busy a fight against each other brand. My brand and better brand. And we talk about brands. Brands came in to us when we couldn't get good clothing. We start buy the brand them because we start trust the brand them. Now we become branded. So people spend more money upon a name brand, right? Than for buy 6 or 7 pair of clothes where they can wear 6 or 7 different times. But them wear one brand 30 times just to prove say it's a brand. And that makes sense. That absolutely makes sense. We become branded in a sense that we only see brand. We only respect the brand. We don't respect the person. If the person are wear one $300,000 brand, yes, nice brand. You're not talking about the person, you know. You're talking about the brand, but them feel good wearing the brand. Not getting credit for them, you know. but just putting on the brand that make them feel good as we proceed. And remember, the brand not created by them, The brand is not created by them. Not like my brands, Be Unlimited people, my Yaman t-shirt people, my delicious sauces people. Hello? As we proceed, people.
Granted him the authority to override any court judgment in the country. The Kulungogo incident increased Nkrumah's paranoia and moved away from his image as a man of the people. He no longer traveled in taxis, wore the traditional kente cloth, or sat on the floor of mud huts to meet with Ghanaians.
Move that. Move that. Them thinking, yo, me get to me want now. I got what I wanted. I don't need you mud hut people anymore. You know, see me suit. E.D. Dubois. And wait, the magnificent, what them name? The flying ten or the what tell us me have to do one pon the magnificent ten or the flying ten, whatever they call themselves. All dressed up and well spoken. What them name? The talented 10. I am so shocked. I am so sorry, people. The talented 10. We no more from here, so we don't know more out. We don't want no more out no more. We're rich. More out can't skate from the highway. Oh, people. Past, present, and future. As we proceed.
Wore the traditional kente cloth, or sat on the floor of mud huts to meet with Ghanaians. Instead, he sought refuge among his close circle of admirers. Rallies began to die off and were replaced with formal radio and television broadcasts. Even the Ghanaian
Me no want see uno. Me no want see uno, and me definitely no want hear uno. What me say? Me no want see uno, and me definitely no want hear uno. Whatever scrap me can dash out, uno can take that. Whatever uno feel about it, uno feel about it. It doesn't change unless we change it, people. It'll never change until we change it. That's why they love it so much, That's why they love it so much. Wow.
press fell victim to government pressure, revering Kwame Nkrumah daily. This constant state of praise created a dichotomy around Nkrumah in which the president lost touch with the reality of Ghana's unhappiness, believing that critics were a result of neo-colonial pressure. A new attempt on the president's life came on January 2, 1964 by Seth Ametewe, a Ghanaian police officer allegedly hired by members of the opposition. Ametewe was posted on guard duty at Flagstaff House, the president's personal residence. Ametewe ambushed.
Boy, may I tell you. Boy, may I tell you the people. I am not. Yo, watch that. The same thing. The same thing. Over and over. The ones them close to you always hurt you. The one them close to you always hurt you. So when Bob Marley sing that song there, only your friend know your secret. Them people did that practice that for a long time. Wow. This is eye-opening. It's very eye-opening, people. You know what I say? I just saw we live amongst ourselves. You know, say in the thing that in the I keep on say with the Rosewood, the lady that the house, the black lady that the house, and she say the man have two man. And the police then come there and ask her. And me say me can't understand why she never tell the police them. or tell the people them say a lie. So then can go back a Rosewood for burn down the place and box up the people them. Me not understand why she never say it. Tell the people them say she a lie. I wonder if she survive. I really wonder if she did survive that. And you wonder why nobody not go back at the town because where we not have to go back at the town for? Go pick up the pieces of what? It's not easy understanding people. I'm gonna keep on saying it. These things are not all of them are gonna be superhero. But we must understand certain things. If this a security guard and not agree with the man, he go about him business. More. What you try hurt the man for? For the money. For the money, people. As we proceed.
Nkrumah while the president walked to a waiting vehicle. He then fired 5 wild shots at Nkrumah but failed to make a strike. A-M-E-T-E-D then charged at the president, hoping to hit him with the butt of the gun, but Nkrumah ran for the front of the house with A-M-E-T-E-D in close pursuit. Finally, Nkrumah stopped, bravely faced his attacker, and managed to pin A-M-E-T-E-D to the ground. The only injury Nkrumah received was a cheek bite, and the would-be assassin was arrested and later hanged for the murder of Nkrumah's personal guard, Salifu Dagati. After this incident, Nkrumah promptly sacked the top police commanders, and by alienating the police, he made his own position precarious. Reports that capitalist forces, possibly backed by the United States and other Western powers, were trying to
United States again. As we proceed, people.
Nkrumah led to widespread anger and protest, particularly targeting the United States Embassy. In this charged atmosphere, 4 American professors were dismissed from the University of Ghana at Legon. Kwame Nkrumah himself later blamed the United States CIA and Western imperialists for masterminding these attacks on his life. Nkrumah had become quite paranoid after Patrice Lumumba's death a few years prior, and he became worried that he was the next neo-colonialist target for assassination. Meanwhile, in January of 1964, a referendum was held to make Ghana a one-party state. The referendum passed and Ghana legally became a one-party socialist state. President Nkrumah justified this by arguing that a one-party state was necessary to achieve national unity and prevent tribalism, which he believed would be exploited by external forces to undermine Ghana's stability. While all of this was taking place, Kwame Nkrumah also busied himself with the ideological education of a new generation of Black African political activists and also pursued his dream of a United States of Africa.
A United States of Africa. And him gonna lead the whole thing, people. So this a man this a man want everything for himself, people. This man want, but I know so him start out, That's not how him start out. He start out for the people them. And then guess what? Came all about himself. It's all about me. As we proceed, people.
Activists and also pursued his dream of a United States of Africa. On the continental level, Kwame Nkrumah sought to unite Africa so that it could defend its international economic interests and stand up against the political pressures from East and West that were a result of the Cold War. Additionally, in his personal life, Kwame Nkrumah's marriage to Egyptian national Fatia Rizek was seen as a significant and carefully planned event that reflected both his personal and political motivations. The marriage was arranged without the two ever meeting, a process facilitated by intermediaries including Egyptian President Gamal Abdel Nasser. Some say that Nkrumah's desire to marry an Egyptian woman was a symbol of unity between Africa and the Arab world. Nkrumah's vision for Africa went beyond mere political independence. He championed the economic.
So even then, people married for political reasons. Like that still don't happen, people. As we proceed,
And cultural unification of Africa, which he saw as essential for resisting neocolonialism and external exploitation. In 1958, he brought together an array of political parties, trade unions, and student groups from across the continent with the aim of coordinating the African nonviolent revolution. The main goal of the conference was to build unity among the delegates about the path forward for the struggle against colonialism and imperialism on the continent. Some 300 African representatives attended this All African People's Conference in Ghana. Many were later to achieve prominence, including Julius Nyerere from Tanganyika, now Tanzania, Joshua Nkomo from Southern Rhodesia, now Zimbabwe, and Kenneth Kaunda from Northern Rhodesia, now Zambia. The young Kenyan trade unionist Tom Mboya was chosen as the conference chairman. As I alluded to, Nkrumah had a vision for a United States of Africa, and this plan was for a politically and economically unified Africa where independent states would merge into a single federation. He believed this unity was essential for resisting neocolonialism, fostering economic development, and ensuring Africa's global influence. However, this vision faced resistance from other African leaders who prioritized national sovereignty. The idea ultimately failed to materialize during Nkrumah's lifetime, leading instead to the formation of the more loosely organized Organization of African Unity in 1963. Kwame Nkrumah played a pivotal role as one of the founding fathers of this organization. Probably no single factor contributed more to Kwame Nkrumah's growing sense of the need for a United States of Africa in order to drive out neocolonialism than the Congo crisis episode. Nkrumah saw the Congo crisis, which erupted soon after the Congo gained independence from Belgium in 1960, as a critical moment in
and Belgium, Belgium too. Wow. As we proceed, people.
Africa's post-colonial history. The crisis involved intense political instability, foreign intervention, and the eventual assassination of Patrice Lumumba, the Congo's first democratically elected prime minister. In a November 1963 speech before a conference of African journalists in Accra, Nkrumah bluntly depicted the Congo as a land being despoiled by American and Belgian capitalists ruling through neocolonialist puppets. Kwame Nkrumah's reflections on the Congo crisis and the assassination of Patrice Lumumba strengthened his resolve and determination to combat neocolonialism. This commitment became a central theme in his later writings, especially in his book Neocolonialism, The Last Stage of Imperialism. This book, which was published in 1965 by Kwame Nkrumah, is a critical analysis of how former colonial powers, particularly Western nations, continue to exert control over newly independent African countries through economic and political means. In the book, Kwame Nkrumah argues that although African nations had achieved political independence, their economic systems remained dominated by foreign interests, including multinational corporations and international financial institutions. Kwame Nkrumah critiques the role of Western powers, particularly the United States and former European colonial nations, in maintaining a grip on Africa's resources and political system. As you can probably imagine, the publication of the book was met with significant hostility in the West.
How did I know that's gonna happen, people? How did I know that was gonna happen? But it's ironic that this man goes back to this, right? When this was from the beginning. But this man had an opportunity to change his country, change everything else. But the man ended up becoming a dictator, right? As we proceed, people, and even for him, it's a full circle, right? Even for him within himself, it's a full circle. As we proceed,
Was met with significant hostility in the West, particularly in the United States and Britain. These two countries were particularly displeased with the book because it directly challenged their influence in Africa and accused them of perpetuating neocolonial practices. The book was also seen as inflammatory at a time when the Cold War was at its height, with Nkrumah aligning more closely with socialist and non-aligned nations. One of the most significant consequences was the withdrawal or reduction of economic aid to Ghana. The United States government
I'm gonna tell you, say economic aid. Everything where you look, it's economic aid. But all of these countries have like so much resources, natural resources. As we proceed, people.
which had been providing financial assistance to Nkrumah's government, began to reconsider its support. This reduction in aid exacerbated Ghana's already struggling economy, which was facing challenges due to Nkrumah's ambitious industrialization projects and rising national debt. At the same time, Nkrumah's focus on Pan-Africanism and the fight against neocolonialism sometimes came at the expense of addressing Ghana's immediate economic and social issues. Many Ghanaians felt that Nkrumah was more concerned with continental and global issues than with the needs of his own country. By 1965, Ghana was facing a severe balance of payments crisis, and the government was forced.
Another match I show you. These people just keep on borrowing the money and not doing anything constructive with it. These people borrow the money and then them don't do nothing constructive, because if them did build up infrastructure like what you see Abraham Toria do, they would have the money to pay back. As we proceed, people.
Introduce austerity measures which were deeply unpopular. It has also been reported that as Nkrumah's relationship with the West deteriorated, some elements in the United States government either began taking steps to have Nkrumah overthrown or were aware of such an impending plan in Ghana. In a 1965 internal memorandum, Robert Comer of the United States National Security Council wrote, and I quote, FYI, we may have a pro-Western coup in Ghana soon. Certain key military and police figures have been planning for some time, and Ghana's deteriorating economic condition may provide the spark. The plotters are keeping us briefed and state things we are more on the inside than the British, the memo continued. While we are not directly involved, I'm told we and other Western countries, including France, have been helping to set up the situation by ignoring Nkrumah's pleas for economic aid. By the beginning of 1966, Ghana had gone bankrupt and was on the verge of economic collapse. So it came as no surprise that on 24 February 1966, while Kwame Nkrumah was in Beijing on his way to Hanoi, vainly attempting to mediate in the Vietnam War, the army struck. At 6 a.m. on February 24, 1966, Colonel E.K. Kotoka announced on Ghana radio that the myth surrounding Nkrumah has been broken. The coup was almost bloodless except for the killing of a General Barwa who was shot while resisting arrest, and some casualties in the area of Flagstaff House where a Colonel Zanlerigo and the president's own guard regiment put up some fierce but brief resistance. Leaders of the 1966 military coup, including Army officers Colonel E.K. Kotoka, Major Akwasi Afrifa, Lieutenant General J.A. Ankara, and Police Inspector General Harley, justified their takeover by charging that Nkrumah's CPP was abusive and corrupt.
If you're sick and tired of...
You guys see that? Most of the time when the coup them happen, that's because the man them in a power become unbearable. But I tell you, say, in some situation, the people them love the people them. In some situation, the people them love the people them. It doesn't matter how bad it gets. The people them love the people them. It doesn't matter how much them lie and thief. The people love the people them. The more them get treated bad, and the more them them defend the people them. As we proceed, people.
He was abusive and corrupt. They said they were equally disturbed by Nkrumah's aggressive involvement in African politics and by his belief that Ghanaian troops could be sent anywhere in Africa to fight so-called liberation wars even though they never did so. Above all, they pointed to the absence of democratic practices in Ghana, a situation they claimed had affected the morale of the armed forces. According to Keno Kotoka, the military coup of 1966 was a nationalist one because it liberated the nation from Nkrumah's dictatorship. The leaders of the coup set up the National Liberation Council, the NLC, and were supported by sections of the Ghanaian military and police. This new regime immediately dissolved Kwame Nkrumah's CPP and reversed many of his policies. Upon hearing the news of his overthrow, Kwame Nkrumah initially sought refuge in China, where he was warmly received by the Chinese government. However, he soon accepted an offer of asylum from President Ahmed Sékou Touré of Guinea, who declared Nkrumah the honorary co-president of Guinea. Nkrumah spent the remaining 6 years of his life in Conakry, the capital of Guinea, and he remained active in the Pan-African movement and maintained correspondence with African leaders and liberation movements across the continent. He continued to write extensively, producing several important works during this period, including Dark Days in Ghana, in which he detailed the circumstances leading to his overthrow and accused Western powers, particularly the United States CIA, of being complicit in the coup d'etat. In the early 1970s, Kwame Nkrumah's health began to deteriorate, having been diagnosed with prostate cancer. On April 27, 1972, Kwame Nkrumah passed away in Bucharest, Romania, at the age of 62. Following his death, Nkrumah's body was returned to Guinea, where he was initially buried. However, his remains were repatriated to Ghana and interred in his hometown of Nkorofo. Over time, the Ghanaian government and people re-evaluated Kwame Nkrumah's legacy, and he was eventually recognized as one of the nation's founding fathers. A mausoleum was later built in his honor in Accra, and his contributions to Ghana's independence and African liberation were formally acknowledged. Don't forget to like and share the video if you enjoyed it.
Yes, I did enjoy it, people. But I'm just saying though, you see, them give him a pass still. I feel it's like them give him a pass because yes, him start out good. Even the first one nominated for office and everything. But people, what the man end up do? The man end up become a dictator. Him get exiled from his country. So how are those things so all them the things that benefit him country? So just to say a person is the first, it doesn't mean say them did and then they do something good. Just because you're the first. Yes, him get a trophy, you see. Him even get one statue, make for him and all of them stuff that uh, people, look. Me not take away nothing from the from them greatness, But me just I say, right? Many of these people, the story is not fully told. Them just start the good part of it. So the full story, Mister, this is why I look at it. And always I try to look on it and I say, look, we can't take everything what everybody say. We have to do the research ourselves. We have to make our own mind ourselves. So I just want to see how much book him write. Right. I'm saying write some. Well, I'm saying keep on writing after in retire. But me say him funny him a write book and I talk about the US the US treat him say the US is all of this, but then him do all of them things to them people. So it wasn't just all just on the people them alone. Him well educated, yes. And all of those stuff, yes. But me same time I look upon it, him sound like E.D. Du Bois in some sense. Okay, me not see in books. I not see the books them him right. But the one we get more at least me want to see the one we get the US pissed off. Okay, me have to look for him books them. I think him are the first one we do was when born September. Books, okay. So him write enough book. Him write enough book. Him he's a prolific author. Oh, the neocol people me tell you say me nah no degree in a the English language, you know. Okay, so it's colonial colonialism. Neocolonialism, the last stage of imperial. I tell you, say him use enough big words too, you know. And him have cons consi consenial. Okay, it's CONSCIENCISM. Consenialism. Then you have class struggle in Africa. Class struggle in Africa. And him, as we proceed, people. Ghana, Africa must unite. Dark Days in Ghana, 2000. Okay, Handbook of Revolutionary, that in 1968. Dark Days in Ghana, 2009. African Must Unite, 1963. Ghana Autobiography, 1957. Class Struggle in Africa, 1970. Consenialism Philosophy, 1964. And Colonialism, 1965. So I Speak Freedom, him writing in 1961. Jesus, people, enough book him writing, you know. So the man is an author. Me not understand. He's an author who became a first president of Ghana. Jesus, people, him have enough book. Challenge of the Congo, 1967. Towards Colonial Freedom, 1973. Revolutionary Path, 1973. Axioms of Kwame Nkrumah, 2009. Voice from Conakry, 2006. The Struggle Continues, 1968. Selected Speeches, 1979. Some Essential Features of Karus Nkrumahism. The man will create one word with him name. 1970. Okay. Enough book the man right. Axiom of Kwame Nkrumah. Like Nkrumah, 1969. Selected Speech of Nkrumah, 1997. A two book. Selected Speech of Nkrumah. Okay, they must republish it over and over. And this one, Rhodesia File 2015, Neo-colonialism 2024. So somebody must say publishing book, Freedom Ways. Oh, he was a prolific writer, but I don't think he's such a good president because so him treating people them, then him take power, lock up everybody. If you want good president, me not think them are gonna have a coup against you so easily. But in book them not expensive. $13, $12. This is the first people. This is the first um introduction to Kwame Nkrumah. So we can always, look upon like what people think of him, the impact him have on some people life. There's many details, but me tell you say overall, he's a great author. Because then say he was a Ghanaian nationalist leader who played a crucial role in leading the Gold Coast to independence from Britain. He became the first African-born Prime Minister of Ghana and later served as president. So those are great things. He was inspiration was to Martin Luther King. Oh, his radical vision and leadership were an inspiration to Martin Luther King. Them always them also did have a doctor before him. But again, people may say, there's so much information on these people. That's why I say once you open up one book, one book lead to a next book, and all the books are connected. But if we don't open one book, write a book, read a book, share a book, nobody not interested in a book. But reading is so amazing. Understanding is so amazing, people. So as we proceed, people, thanks, school people, for stopping by. Just them thing is not TikTok thing. Them thing is listening and understanding, researching. Get a pen, so get a pen. Write down something. It's so important, Mr. People. When if you sit down and talk with your kids, it's so important for you to talk to your kids, because there shouldn't be a gap. And when I say talk to kids, I not talk about TikTok, I talk about things were relevant to them. Like all them, remember one time I go to school and asked me, so what do you want to be when you get older? Nowadays, everybody want to be a TikToker. When you hear, oh, everybody, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a pilot, I want to be, you hear so much people with so much different views on who they want to be. But the views nowadays, it's not vision, it's just money driven. So whatever can give me the most money, that's what I want. I'm gonna tell you, say the key to free society, are we The key to free society, it's us. So that's why I say I try to highlight them people and show us, look, it's good to have entertainment, but entertainment should never be the main focus. The moment entertainment become the main focus, that means we just a laugh off of everything. I'm not talk my nervous laugh. I just say we just take everything for joke. So if we take it for joke, that means that we're not interested in it. We're not interested in pushing it to make it better or make anything about us better. When we look and just see how much people the government has scrape up and I bring them all to jail. I scrape them out of our country, I bring them to jail. When them people they got jail, how much years them must spend and then return. What them are gonna do? What are they gonna do? Them just have to come give them life because them reach the highest part where them reach already. I know them are go there right at the bottom. All no accomplish nothing for themselves. I'm gonna tell you, say when you say you want to deport to Jamaica, that's a curse. There is no more to that. Give a shout out to the Rasta man, cause I'm tell you, say the Rasta man there, he makes something out of nothing. I mean, I say it's not impossible enough, but when you have a set mentality and things say you can't change your situation or work yourself out of the situation. So your hand in a lion mouth, take your hand, take your time, take it out. I don't know where you want to put your hand in a lion mouth. But me say if it in a dog mouth, dog bite you somehow, you can't just drag it out. You have to take your time. The people them on the road where I do 100,000 miles an hour. You know, have to take no time. All of them things that take time, patience. That's why I say we have to understand certain things. Or we talk to each other are one of the key to destruction. When you listen to the man, me tell you, say, just listen to what the man say when him go a Rosewood. And the first white man will see him. Hey boy, what you doing there? There's so much in just that. Did he say good morning? No. Him a demand. Him a command. What you do there? Just that little thing that's so much. Or we talk to each other with no respect. We're not the boss of each other. So we should not boss up each other. And then it come to disrespect. Then argument. Me talk about the dollar where the people them, one of them him gone to jail for the rest of his life and the next one gonna get boxed up over $1. Them say what them say $100, but me tell you say it's $1 because when you look on that in our next country, it's $1. So why would you get so angry at each other when you come down to that? Because we no reason, we no see each other. One of them see one cow and the other one see one goat. One see one cow and one see one goat. So the one with the machete must see the cow. And the one with the knife must see the goat. Because that are the only thing we take out them breed a weapon there for. Now, if you did see him as a human, you'd do that. So when we say we don't see each other, we don't listen to each other, we don't care. And then we look to somebody we don't care about we and ask them if care about we. That don't make no sense. And you can't make that make sense. You guys are asking the people we not care about Uno if we not live or if Uno get boxed up if care about Uno. When them not have no reason, them have 300% raise Uno no have road. Uno no have water. As we proceed, people, come tell us from from the past, present, and future, how me see everything. This is why it is, because we just accept everything for what it was and not highlight it and say, okay, them went wrong here, so them went wrong here, so we need to change this, we need to change that. And so we don't own nothing, We own nothing. All of them people with all of them jewelries and everything and them big house and everything, and when then dead broke. But at that them are shoved down with short, not understanding who we are. And I said, this is just material. And you are more than material. Each and every one of you more than any material out there. Because anything we you can create, put in a one package and sell it, a phone creation that you don't have to sell on yourself. Talking about my sauce, so me tell the girls, I go, look what I go do. I go take this here, join what you sell me. I go sell this a label here over and over and over. Oh, me I sell that the label there over and over. So buy a sauce so I can sell the next label. I want to know. People, I'm just saying the greatness is right there. It's within us. It is us. Why we are deny it and I destroy it. This not right. This is disrespect. People, me tell us we can't be too low, right? We can never get too low. We can never get too high. We must be always be even keel within ourselves and our unlimited ability, because that's real. Thank you, people. Always manners, respect. Always more coming. Because I tell you, I have some amazing things to add, to highlight. But most of all, keep on highlighting yourself, people. Have a more day. Thank you guys for stopping by. I'm out.